location. General seasonal movements.
Because they're an adaptable creature, walleyes are often able to use a variety of zones in any body of water. This goes against the common misconception that they're always in deep water and that they're always around rocks. This may be true in many cases, but certainly not all of them. But depending upon what a body of water offers, walleyes could use the primary drop-off area, deep water structure, shallow weed or wood cover, coverless flats, or even suspend. In fact, the real kicker is that they might be able to do all of these things at the same time in the same lake. That's right. Different portions of the walleye population could be doing different things simultaneously. Independent groups of fish might feed on different food sources in unrelated portions of the lake. To complicate matters even more, each group could become active at different times of the day. Fortunately, several general guidelines provide a starting point for any walleye fishing situation. After that, it's simply determining what options the fish have available to them and adapting to them.
Spawning behavior. Walleyes spawn in early spring when the water temperature is between 40 and 50 degrees Fahrenheit. In lakes and reservoirs, they typically assemble outside the spawning areas prior to spawning and move into them once the shallows are ice-free or as the shallows begin to warm. In rivers, they often move toward spawning areas near dams as early as late fall and hold in the general dam area all winter. Once spring arrives, they shift location slightly to adjacent spawning sites. Walleyes are broadcast spawners. They don't build nests like bass or panfish. Instead, after sunset, males and females gather in areas of shallow 1 to 4 foot deep rock or brush and spread their eggs across the general bottom surface. Eggs fall between cracks and settle to the bottom. Current caused by flowing water or wind action provides the necessary oxygen the eggs require during their 1 to 2 week incubation period. Once the fry hatch, they feed off a yolk sac for a short time and then suspend near the surface in open water and feed on plankton. Adult walleyes do not guard newly hatched fry or patrol the spawning site against predation from egg-thieving panfish. After spawning, they merely begin filtering out toward the main body of water. Walleyes may linger in the general spawning area for some time if food is present. If not, they begin dispersing from the area rather quickly. In natural lakes, the prime spawning areas are chiefly rocky inlet streams or shallow windswept shorelines or shallow humps with 1 to 4 inch diameter rock. Some fish generally spawn in the creeks first, followed by main lake spawners once the water temperature there warms sufficiently. In many Canadian lakes, waterfalls or rapids in the rivers between lakes are the prime spawning sites. River walleyes have several options, some of which go against common theory. They may spawn on shallow rocky shoal areas or sections of riprap if it's present. In some cases, however, they choose different options.
Tracking studies on the upper Mississippi River have documented walleyes moving into flooded backwater areas to spawn below dams where current is reduced. Before you conclude that this might be an unnatural type of behavior, remember that walleyes were originally river fish and that they've been subsequently stocked in other types of environments. Spawning on suitable brush areas may be more of a natural occurrence in rivers than many anglers believe. Walleyes that run upriver from Lake Winnebago, Wisconsin to spawn in the Wolf River actually lay eggs on a type of vegetation called canary grass. Strange, but definitely true.
Reservoir walleyes typically display some blend of spawning behavior common to both lakes and rivers. Why? Because reservoirs are man-made lakes formed by damming rivers and have characteristics common to each.
In reservoirs with hard-bottomed feeder streams, walleyes typically move up major feeder streams to spawn in shallow rapids. The Cheyenne River off Lake Oahe, South Dakota, and the Little Red River off Greers Ferry Reservoir, Arkansas are good examples. Fish hold in the pools below rapids by day and spawn in the shallow current-swept rocks at night. Soft-bottom reservoirs with little or no natural rock see a different brand of walleye spawning behavior. In these instances, walleyes move to man-made riprap areas near causeways or the dam to spawn. It's a logical alternative, although it may at first seem strange since they use a totally different portion of the lake than fish in reservoirs with hard-bottom feeder streams. But when you consider the available options, it makes sense. This is common practice in small reservoirs in states like Kansas and Ohio. Great Lakes walleyes typically move up major rivers to spawn. The Fox River at Green Bay, Wisconsin, the Maumee and Sandusky rivers near Toledo, Ohio, and the Saginaw River near Bay City, Michigan are excellent examples. Some shallow reefs like those near Port Clinton, Ohio host a portion of the spawn as well.
Even though it's a bright sunny day, I can see some walleyes down here in the current. And that brings up an interesting point. No matter where walleyes spawn in the waters near you, they will be somewhere near, in, or around these spawning areas in early spring. After spawning, they begin to disperse back out into the main body of water in search of comfort, security, and food. Now, how quickly they move depends on a host of options. To stay on numbers of catchable fish, you have to judge how long it's been since the fish have completed spawning and how far they may have moved, given all the available options. This is where things really get interesting.
The spring dispersal post-spawn pre-summer. Since walleyes feel no loyalty to protect developing eggs or fry, post-spawn walleyes are free to roam. From this point on throughout the year, they use whatever food sources and lake areas they find suitable. Being a migratory fish, they may travel long distances until the pre-spawn urge draws them back to their spawning sites come late winter or the following spring. Anglers assume early season walleyes will be directly in their rocky spawning sites. Perhaps, but not necessarily so. They may already be dispersing back into the main body of water. Chances are they'll be somewhere nearby, however.
River walleyes usually disperse the fastest. This applies to fish that run up rivers from reservoirs and for the Great Lakes as well. There's often such a huge concentration of walleyes in the spawning areas that there's no way they can all remain there after they're finished. Fish almost immediately begin drifting back downriver, spreading throughout the aquatic system and taking up temporary residence wherever food, cover, and reduced current are present. Main lake spawners in lakes and reservoirs may disperse a bit more slowly, depending upon what's available. If the area adjacent to the spawning site is shallow, coverless, or lacking available food, walleyes will begin cruising the flats and keep right on going until they find suitable options. They might locate spawning perch in a nearby weed bed or spawning shiners on an adjacent sand flat, for example. They might hold in shallow wood cover, particularly if the water is stained or dark. If the area offers enough to fulfill their needs, they'll stay. Otherwise, they roam.